Welcome back to the NAO show. That's Marky Mark. That's Tank Top Mike in a Metallica t-shirt. And it's me, the champion. Oh, wait, that's only week one. Who did I beat? The Deep Butts? Yeah, I beat that ass. Yeah. All right, Marky Mark, let's go.
All right. Let's go over the results of the week. Week number one. So we're going to start off with the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, who did beat the Dynasty Leasts.
Yeah.
148 to 121. Sean, I'm going to let you start it off, man. This is your time to shine.
If I have not taught this Dynasty League anything about fantasy football, I would like to reassure them that shoring up that flex spot really makes it good.
Shore up the flex
spots, I would not have won, just so you all know. Amari Cooper, 33 points. 33 points, y'all.
In the flex.
That's all I got to say. Sure up.
Who else you have in the flex? I think he did all right in the flex. You had somebody else in there too, didn't you? I'm not looking at it, but that's right. Yeah.
I had 14 points from Waddle, and I had a moderate 8 points from Galladay, which will not be in our matchup next week, Tank Top Mike. So you just don't worry your pretty little head.
I just want to point out that if I've taught you anything about fantasy, you started a Thursday player in your flex. So that's all I have to say about your matchup.
Is that a good or a bad thing?
That's a bad thing.
Yeah, I don't want to give too much advice here.
Yeah, I don't know. A lot of times the Thursday guys just seem they can just lay an egg. It's like they either go crazy or they just lay an egg. So it's tough on the Thursday night guys, but worked out well for you on this one. I had him going in another league and I was quite happy myself to see all that. Well, looking at your matchup there, Sean, I'd say welcome back, Joe Mixon.
Oh, thank you.
He looked pretty good. You had him up against Christian McCaffrey, and he hung right in with him. So that was nice, man.
If Christian McCaffrey is watching this podcast, first of all, welcome. Second of all, thank you for not hitting that pay dirt, baby.
Yeah,
that was big.
Yeah, I mean, he had almost 200 yards, but no TDs, so it kept him down there. So, yeah, Amari looks like the wide receiver one in Dallas. Everybody's the CD Amari thing. Amari looks like number one so far, and it was a nice debut for Waddle there. He got a touchdown and did pretty well. For the Dynasty
back this week, so it's kind of iffy on if he's going to get those targets still.
Yeah, we'll see what happens there. For the Dynasty Leasts, it was they had the Tannehill AJ stack, but looked more like the Tannehill AJ slack.
Ooh.
Wasn't quite happening.
Got him.
If there was a Miyagi to give out in the NFL, it would probably go to Tennessee Titans because they got that ass waxed by Arizona, man. And just to rub it in on Evan, I got to tell him, Quez Watkins, who he's calling Cheetah Jr., 3.8 points. So maybe there'll be better days ahead, but it didn't happen in week one. So come up with a better take, Evan. So, all right, guys, let's move on to our next match, our next score, next result from last week. So we had Humpty 123, Silly Dilly 110 for a difference of 13 points for Humpty. Mike, start us off on this one, if you would, please.
I think Humpty really nailed this one in chat, and neither team here deserved to win the game. I mean, really, if you look at all the scores, Humpty with a 122, it's low, but it's not terribly low. I wasn't much higher, really. So he did come back a little bit from there. He has some good signs. Matthew Stafford looks fantastic for the Rams. I think that's going to be great for him all season. Tom Brady doesn't age, so Silly also gets some quarterback points as well. And then you kind of get down into their running backs. A lot of interesting takes here. I'm interested mostly to hear what you guys think about Silly with Harris, though, because we all know about the bet. So what do you guys think after week 1?
Yeah, I mean, Harris had a really good day, marred by a fumble at the end, which lost him the game probably. Yeah, no TDs. So, solid outing, but for fantasy purposes, it's a little bit iffy right now. And if it looks like that moving forward, I could be in trouble on the bet. What do you think, Sean?
I was going to say we need to pump our expectations. This guy got 23 carries and just barely made 100 yards, all right?
That's a good Miami defense, though, man.
The receptions is what's going to make the difference in this bet, I think. The receptions, if he gets more receptions, I might be in trouble here.
Yeah.
They really let Mac Jones throw the ball quite a bit too. So
yeah, they sure did. Yeah. James White got a lot of the receiving work. But really Harris dominated the snaps and the touches. So he's the number one there. Ramondre Stevenson fumbled 2. So I don't think Harris is going to be in the doghouse right away. I think he's still going to get a chance to come out there and play. So
I'll give Silly Dilly some credit because he actually picked which week to play Tyler Lockett. Because you either get 20 points or you get 3 points for Tyler Lockett, which is actually the inverse of what I got for DK Metcalf in another league. So there's that for him. He has that going for him. And then his first round pick, Smith there in Philadelphia, did a great job in his opening day. 16 points.
Yeah. Yeah, that was another nice rookie debut there. Yeah, on Silly Dilly's side, Reddy and Lockett had big days, like we said. Ronald Jones had another fumble, which,
he didn't see the field much after that either.
Minus 0.60. I knew he was coming out, man. Jacksonville defense with a -3. He had New Orleans on the bench for 15 points. So definitely, I can't fault him for playing Jacksonville against Houston. It
was Houston. No one in their right mind saw Houston coming out and putting up 37 points. All right.
Yeah. New Orleans had Green Bay, and you're thinking, let me not touch that one, but it didn't work out well for him. On Humpty's side, man, Stafford was looking really good. I got to say, David Montgomery, I haven't been a big believer in, but what he did against a good Rams defense makes me think that Humpty might have a good one there in David Montgomery. Corey Davis had a big day for the Jets, who didn't do much else, but Davis definitely looked good. He survived Henry getting 9.2 points, and he survived Titans defense with a goose egg, which was probably good that they hit 0 and not minus points, because like we said before, Arizona Miyagi'd the shit out of him. So, he did leave some points on his bench, but I look at the guys and I can't fault him for sitting the guys that he sat. So, I think he kind of escaped with a win there, and, it was probably all right.
As the owner of Silly's First next year, I think it was a great matchup.
Hoping for much of the same results moving forward, and we're going to get a bunch of F-bombs from Silly Dilly on chat. Look for that tomorrow.
Because if you look at it too, Josh Jacobs averaged a cool 3.4 yards a carry. Happened to fall into the end zone on accident twice.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Those 16 points are a little inflated even then.
Kind of funny. He was tilting early and put him on the trade block, and then all was forgiven when he got a touchdown. Then he got a second. So he's like, all right, I'll give you one more chance. All right, let's move on to our third score from last week. So this is the mighty McJamars and Goofy Jace. So Goofy Jace 133.76. The mighty McJamars 131.46. I kind of said maybe it's the good nighty McJamars because I didn't start Jamar in this one and ended up losing by 2.3 points.
That much.
It hurt. I'll start us off since it's mine. So Kyler and Godwin were good for me. Henderson had a decent day. Sanders had a really nice day, but I got the Gainwell snipe on the touchdown, which Sean and I watched live. And, that touchdown would have put me over the top. So it hurts a lot more now than it did when we were watching it live. Goofy Jace got good days from Wilson, Gronk, Antonio Brown. Kyle Allen was solid as always. Tyson Williams was a nice debut. He got enough points in the first half to get the lead, and then Tyson kind of disappeared, but I was just like hoping for a Tyson fumble so maybe I could get back over top of him, but never did happen. So for me, it's kind of like I had Gordon on the bench. I had Chase on the bench, and either one of those guys would have put me over the top. Gordon, he got his like on a last minute touchdown. So I'm not too upset about that one. Maybe I should have started Chase, but I think everybody kind of agreed with me at the end of the day for not starting Chase. So Sean, what do you think on this one?
I think when you draft somebody at 3 or 2, you should probably play him regardless of the preseason. I think
so.
Jamar Chase is a fine point. I totally agree with you with starting him. I did not start Justin Jefferson last year, knowing damn well that he was going to go off all season long. But I wanted to see what he did. He actually even started on my taxi squad. He started the season on taxi squad. So I'm right there with you. But I think the big thing is that Goofy moved a key asset in AK right before the start of the games and still got 16 points from the guy that he got. So I think that's pretty good for Goofy. I think this was the closest matchup of the week and could have come down to Ezekiel Elliott, the guy you traded for. If he did average, you would have won this game.
Yeah. Well,
for me, in my opinion, that's the key. Is it's not whether you should have started Chase or not. You could have gone either way, but Zeke is in your lineup to score more than 5 points. That's where it comes down to for me.
Yeah, they say start your studs, and I did, and he wasn't a stud. So, that one hurt as well. So that was a tough loss for me for sure. Sean, I think you and I both noticed that I don't think Goofy had Antonio Brown in his starting lineup until the last minute.
The last second.
I
think the game started at 8:30. I checked lineups at 8 o'clock, and I don't think he was in there then. So between 8 and 8:30, he put him in there, and he's like, I'm going to roll with him.
Yeah, you and I were watching the game, and we're like, oh, wow, who's got Antonio Brown? And I was like, I think Goofy has him, but he didn't start him. And then you looked and you were like, oh, shit.
He started him, Marky Mark.
And then I was like, oh, shit. Yeah. So good on Goofy for getting him in there, man. So, he squeaked by me, damn it. And I'm sitting down there in 6th place instead of 4th place, which I would be in points, I think, or 3rd place, maybe. I don't know.
You still be behind me, just so.
Yeah. That's right. We'll talk about that later. Who had the highest score?
So I do have a message from Goofy, directly from Goofy for the show. He wanted to point out specifically that he did not trade Kamara because he was blowing his team up after one injury, like we said that he would do on the last show. He said he wanted to make sure that we all knew that didn't happen.
All right. Well, we'll talk about that when we get to trades. I've definitely got some thoughts on that, so we'll get there. All right, let's go on to our next result from last week, and that is the Pooh Crew 142, Orlando City Football Club 112. this was I guess this was the biggest point differential at 30 points. I hate that our buddy Aaron lost to that guy that shall not be named. Sean, tell us about your buddy Ian.
First of all, that guy is not my buddy. Second of all, what the heck is up with the 49ers and injuries? Like, can this team go through an actual full game at the start of the season and not lose half their team? Like, Brandon Ayuk had a big old freaking bagel. Raheem Mostert's going to be out for what seems to be the rest of the fucking season.
Yeah,
like
all season.
Golly, like Avon tried so hard to shore up those flex spots, and put Kareem Hunt down in the flex where he should be. And guess what he did? He got 15 points for him.
Yeah,
Good job.
Good day for him.
But the other two players, golly, they were garbage. Absolute garbage. I don't think Brandon Ayuk has another game like this all season, but I felt bad for Avon.
Yeah, I get it. What do you think, Mike?
Yeah, that was tough to see, especially knowing that he's obviously a Niners fan as well. So all those years I drafted Tony Romo, he broke his collarbone. I know how that feels watching your own players on your favorite team also give you a goose egg in fantasy.
Yeah.
The thing is, Aaron Rodgers only put up 1.32 points, and the ass clown won.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Less about that he won with that, and more just, we talk about that he has probably one of the better teams, obviously, and he scored 141 points with Aaron Rodgers scoring 1. That's kind of a little scary as somebody who has to play against him.
Yeah. I agree. I play against him twice this year. I get it.
I don't know if he faked having cancer to the Raiders as a Make-A-Wish kid or what, but they're just force-feeding Waller with 19 targets. That's ridiculous.
Crazy. That's like a 3-game total for some guys, And some of it was forced. They only got 10 of those, but man, yeah, if you're going to get 19 targets, you're going to hit.
He only had 105 yards on 10 targets, though. Imagine if he caught
10
all
catches,
19 of those.
Yeah, no kidding.
Mm-hmm.
And some of those were good, good coverage, but there was a few that he was open too, and Carr just missed him. So yeah, he could have gone for 150 easy. Yeah, I was looking at it, man. He, the Pooh crew, he survived the Rodgers fiasco. He really didn't have great days from Cook or Jonathan Taylor or Metcalf or Deontay Johnson. They were all kind of mid, but he did have good days from DeAndre Hopkins, Travis Kelce, Darren Waller, and that kind of put him over the top. Josh Allen had a rough day for Aaron there. I said fiasco for Rodgers, which was meant a fiasco for Devontae Adams. Mostert got injured. Ayuk did a disappearing act. I think the hamstring maybe, and I don't know. It seemed like for some reason he was in the doghouse. Maybe they said he needs to learn to be more professional. And Sermon was inactive, so I'm wondering if Ayuk and Sermon went to the same strip club and broke curfew or some shit.
They just let those $100 bills fly.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It was kind of weird, for Sermon to be inactive and Ayuk with just nothing going on there. But Tyreek and Chubb and Hunt did their job for Aaron, but nobody else really showed up for him, unfortunately, man. So tough loss for him, especially by that many points. All right, let's go on to our last matchup, which was Tank Top Mike, 128. FNG, I'm going to round him up to 100.
Woo!
Just to make him feel better. He got 99.9. I'm going to round him up to 100 just to make it sound a little better for FNG. Tank Top Mike, tell us about your win there.
Hey, this one was actually a little bit tougher to watch because I actually couldn't watch the games until pretty late. So I was just looking at my phone for a bit. And from my point of view, looking at it that way, it was a lot closer than it looked. I was losing for most of the day. and I was like, what the hell's going on? Like, but I had nobody in the early games really, but like I have some glaring, deficiencies on some of my scores here. Obviously, Jaceki with the goose egg. I figured Sutton would start kind of slow coming back from that ACL. I did not think it would be only 3 targets slow, but I expected something a little lower than, wide receiver 1 or 2 numbers, but so that's a little jarring to see. Eckler with no targets is a little bit upsetting, but he saved it with a touchdown at least. So, and I got to put Kamara in the lineup right before the game started, so it's not too bad either. But I got saved with a few goose eggs on FNG's side, so all things evened out. I skated away with a win. It wasn't pretty, but it's a W at the end of the day. In a few weeks, we'll forget about it. So.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, Mike. I think when you were looking at it halfway through the early games, the 1 o'clock games, you're probably going, what the hell? But like 60% of his lineup played in 1 o'clock, and you had one person playing at 1 o'clock. So I was like, oh, this is going to be real rough at the middle games here. Patrick Mahomes about to put up a 30 burger up on this guy, and he's going to not even see what's coming. But let's all be honest, FNG, he is not playing this year, really. He's putting a lineup out there, being a good sport, even though that his RB2 is Boston fucking Scott that didn't even have a – did he have a carry? Did he have a carry? No.
He did not have a touch.
He did not have a touch, and he is RB2. But we all know what his game plan is. He's going to retool and reload this coming draft. So I love the Cup production. What'd you trade to get Cup?
Nothing really. I just kind of got him.
You just kind of got given Cup?
It was actually, we sat down to finally actually sit and watch games, and we turned the TV on. There's a few plays, and then bam, 50-yard bomb to Cup. I'm like, okay, here we go. Fantasy's back. We're good. But yeah, I like seeing that.
And Zach Moss for Cooper Kupp in a third.
Yeah, I liked that trade.
That's a pretty darn good stout trade right there. Good job, Humpty. What do you think?
Well, Cup, nice day by Cup. I told you guys in our chat that Cup had a touchdown that was reversed because he was down on the 1 yard line, and I needed I needed Henderson to do well for this league. I needed Cup not to do well for my other league where I played Jay Hill, RIP. And when that Cup touchdown got reversed, they gave the ball to Darrell Henderson, who ran it in for the touchdown. I ended up beating Jay Hill, RIP. But unfortunately didn't quite get enough to get goofy, but it sure gave me a good shot to get goofy. So that was a great moment for me, man, I'll tell you. But DeAndre Swift had a nice day. Mahomes had a nice day. Yeah, you survived the Gesicki goose. I told you, when we talked about that trade, I was worried about Gesicki. Durham Smythe out-snapped him, so we'll have to see what happens there. But for some reason, Gesicki is a great athlete. He could be a great tight end for any team that would use him right, but for whatever reason, Miami does not seem to like him. And they're putting out Durham Smythe. Who the hell is Durham Smythe? But they're trotting him out. It was like 38-21 in snaps on that, man. So crazy right there. FNG, poor FNG. Could have broke 100 if Lamar didn't fumble the ball twice down the stretch there and lose them 4 points. And I got a who knew category here for FNG. Who knew that Mark Ingram would actually do something for the Houston freaking Texans, who was sitting on his bench, and who knew that the Arizona defense special team would wax that ass of the Tennessee Titans and do so well. So yeah, he could have done a lot better and maybe been a little more in this, but can't fault him for not starting Mark Ingram or the Arizona defense. So
or Jared Goff putting up 28 points.
I was going to say Lamar Jackson was his lowest scoring quarterback that played.
Yeah, crazy, right? But yeah, I would have put Lamar in there too. So, but that wraps up the results, and it brings us to the Mr. Miyagi ass waxing of the week. The very first one for the 2021 season goes to FNG.
FNG, welcome to the league.
Welcome to the league, FNG. I got a little statement from FNG here.
Ooh.
He says, I have to thank Skippy Bark, RIP, for leaving me a roster with an average age of 37 years old. And I expect to be here many more weeks in the coming weeks. So thank you very much.
Thank you, FNG, for those kind words.
Yeah. So
Skippy Bark.
Special moment getting his first Miyagi award. So Mike, if you would, Mr. Tank Top, please run us down the standings early in the season, but let's see where we are at this point.
Yeah, so like you said, it's early in the season. So
hey, now let's not get too hasty here.
So yeah, obviously if you win, it goes off points. If you lose, it also goes by points. Sean, I don't know if you know this, you won. You also scored the most points. So you're first.
Oh my God!
Way to go.
Does that make me first?
That does make you first, yeah. And unfortunately, me, FNG, who you just got the Miyagi, you are last place.
Suck it.
But really, since it's the first week, I just want to point out a few little anomalies, maybe little comfort facts for everybody.
Ooh, okay. Fun facts.
Ian and Goofy are in the playoffs right now. This feels comforting. Feels like last year. I am in 4th place, which feels exactly like last year.
That doesn't bode well for you, Tank Top Mike. That does not bode well for you.
Silly is in the bottom 4. That feels great. Feels normal.
Feels normal.
And wait, let me refresh this, Greg. The deep butts are also in the bottom 4 right now.
Well, shoot.
That feels normal too, actually. Yeah,
yes, it does.
Yeah. Yeah, 7th place right there.
Man, shoot.
Yeah.
Yui.
Yeah, we'll see how these pan out over the year, obviously, but a little bit of comfort facts for us on week 1.
All right, guys. Well, we are already running out of time. We got to get to our trades real quick. We'll just quickly touch on the Dynasty Leasts traded with Humpty. And Dynasty Least got Trinity Benson, a 2022 second and a 2022 fourth. Humpty got Tyler Boyd. Mike, start us off real quick on this one.
I forgot about that trade. I thought the Dynasty butts got Tyler Boyd, didn't it?
Yeah,
No.
I think the deep butts got the Boyd.
Oh, did it? Did I have it backwards?
Deep butts got Boyd, and the Humpty Dumpty fell off a wall got Benson, a fourth, and a second.
Sorry, man. I had it absolutely backwards. Okay, so
But either way, I think
shit trade.
Yeah, basically.
Good trade. Got it. Let's move on.
Yeah, Trinity Benson from East Central Oklahoma. Of course, we watch their games every week.
Oh yeah.
Maybe Ricky sees something in him. He did have a good preseason. I don't know. He's already almost like 25 years old and been in the league a couple of years. We'll see what happens. Tyler Boyd didn't do great this first week, but I still think he might be the wide receiver too. We'll see what happens. All right, let's go on to trade between Goofy Chase and Tank Top Mike. Goofy Chase gets Tyson Williams, a 2022 first, a 2023 first, The 2022 was Tank Top Mike's. The 2023 was Air Gates, which was Sean. He got a 2023 second, which was Tank Top Mike's. He got a 2022 third, which was the DBs, and a 2022 third, which was my pick. And Tank Top Mike got Alvin Kamara. Start us off, Mike. This is your trade. Exciting trade. Let us know what you think there.
Yeah, this one took a long time. It took about 3 weeks of talking with Goofy. That's not even a joke. I actually went back and looked. It took over 21 days.
Wow.
However, it was worth it in my opinion. I know on paper it looks like I gave up a whole bunch of picks for Kamara. However, for me, this goes back to August 17th, which is the day that I made the Zeke trade. As soon as I made the Zeke trade, I made a whole bunch of hullabaloo about keeping the firsts. We all knew that was hullabaloo. So I immediately kind of took that and I thought, what do I want to do with these? I need another running back. Technically, the Kamara trade goes back all the way to August 24th, 2020. I was trying to trade for him in Jamaica when it was before my wedding. I value Kamara quite a bit higher fantasy wise than Zeke. So I thought if I can use these assets I got from the Zeke trade and get Kamara, kind of piece it together as one trade, and it makes more sense to me that way. And it kind of makes it seem like I came out a little bit better than just trading a whole bunch of picks for Kamara. Because in that regard, I sent Zeke 2/3 and 2 seconds. And in return, I got Kamara, Gus Edwards, and Michael Pittman. Obviously, I got to keep Edwards and my IR, which who knows what he'll be next year, but Baltimore seems to like him, so they're probably going to give him a chance. But Kamara and Pittman, I feel like I came out okay if you kind of consider both trades as one rather than two separate ones. Obviously, with Kamara, Eckler, and now DeAndre Swift, I really like my running pass catching backs. They had maybe, that's why I was so surprised about Eckler not having any targets, because, I expect almost like 30 targets out of my running backs every given week with those three. But that's the kind of running back that I like. That's, I think that they age well. Kamara is the same age as Zeke, less miles on his legs, and his game kind of ages a little bit better. So Ian, Kamara is not going anywhere. I'm sorry, friend.
It's laughable. Let me just tell the whole right now. This is a PSA. You will not get AK because Michael is not the one you have to deal with. It's Anna that you have to deal with. And good fucking luck. Let me just say. So on other funner notes, I think this was awesome because not a lot of people know, but Sunday was your birthday. And you went and got AK, the guy that you've been working on for the last month, like you said. And I love getting running backs that have pass game upside. Joe Mixon. If they would throw to CEH, he would be freaking really, really good. But they won't because Patrick Mahomes is a freaking turd. But I digress. Great trade for you. I don't care how many picks you had to send to get him. He is going to be an asset moving forward. Mark.
I like the trade for both sides because we talked about Goofy Jace being a little bit older in his roster, and now he's got a bunch of freaking picks to get some youth infusion in there.
Heck yeah.
I like it for Tank Top Mike here because Kamara just turned 26. He is signed through 2025. They do have an out in 2024 when he will be 29 years old. I'm thinking that 26, 27, 28, 3 years, I think Kamara could still be good for New Orleans. And he's still like the focus of the offense,
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, Tank Top got a good win now kind of guy that he can have on the roster for the next few years. And Goofy Jace got the pick. So I love this trade for both sides, man. Really good one. That was a fun one.
If AK's got to move, it was going to take a busload of assets, but with both sides, like you said, Marky Mark, I think both sides got exactly what they were looking for. And Goofy didn't really see the hit in his starting lineup as some people would think that AK would make.
Yeah, Tyson actually outscored Kamara in week 1. So
yeah, true. He looked good early on.
I told Goofy, you don't need him. You don't need Kamara this week to win. He had a big Thursday, and then I panicked a little bit. Okay, just for a little bit, but it turned out okay.
Yeah. I appreciated you taking him out of the lineup for me, but didn't quite work out by 2.3 points.
Well,
Well,
that's our review for week 1. Come back next week where you find out that the Prince, me, beat that guy, Tank Top Mike, in week
Tank Top Mike.
How many times? How many times do you beat me this week though? Because we play each other in 3 leagues.
Ooh, we're gonna go odds on 3. I say I probably win 1 out of 3. You'll win the other 2.
That's probably fair, actually.
All right, that's NAO, and Ian, you suck.